Okay, boys and girls, I want to talk to you about your last project for food chains. We've learned a lot of stuff about food chains, and this is your performance task for food chains. All right, I'm going to read you the first part. It says, Prosper is a growing town. The parks, wooded areas, gardens, and lakes are all affected by the new construction of homes and businesses. Your job is to inform others of the effects this might have on our environment so that companies can take precautions when beginning new projects. You will specifically focus on food chains and how they may be affected. Your job is to create a visual representation of a food chain you would find in Prosper, tell what type of area this food chain may be found in, and explain how it may be impacted by new construction. You'll also include a solution for companies to consider so that their impact on the environment is not so great. You may use paper or technology to make your food chain. Once you've researched and created your food chain, you'll need to include a well thought out explanation of the possible effects of the food chain and propose a solution to help prevent catastrophic, that means really bad, changes from occurring in the ecosystems. Students will provide a written explanation of the impact from construction and the solution they propose, along with the visual representation of the food chain. Now, that's a lot of words here, okay? Here's how you're going to make here's how they're going to grade it, okay? Your food chain, if you have a good food chain in there, it's drawn with arrows in the right direction. It starts with the sun, and you have at least one producer, that means the one who makes its own food, and two consumers who eat other things, then you're going to get a really good grade. It has to be easily readable, and the paragraph gives a thorough explanation of the impact construction has on it, okay? So you can submit your work two ways. You can take a picture of the completed work, and this says upload to Google Classroom, but you can also take a picture and share it on Seesaw, or you can type it right in this document, okay, depending on what's easier for you. Now, just like we did yesterday in the slide, you practiced that yesterday. So today you're going to do a great job on it. So you're going to find images, and you're going to create a food chain to paste in here. Okay, here's your arrows showing how the transfer, excuse me, drag the correct arrows to indicate which way the energy flows from your food chain. Okay, so you have to include the sun, one or more producers, and two or more consumers. Okay, so the producer makes his own food, the consumers eat things. So you're going to create a food chain here. Okay, remember you can go to insert image from the web, just like yesterday. Okay, once you get your food chain here, you can compare how different organisms depend on living things as well as non-living things. Okay, so for instance, if I might have done a pond, okay, maybe I did some algae in the pond, and I would say algae depends on the sun, and it depends on the rocks and other things for it to grow onto. Okay, then I might have something that eats the algae, maybe some fish. Okay, what does the fish depend on? Well, he depends on the algae, other things, non-living things. He depends on the water in the pond to stay alive, right? Then I have to talk about how are these two organisms alike and how are they different? Okay, the algae and the fish are both alike because they live in the pond. They're different because the algae is a plant and the fish is an animal. Okay, that's the kind of thing they're looking for. So think about two things that live in your pond. How do they depend on other living things? And how do they depend on non-living things? Okay, then talk about how if somebody started building something right there by my pond, how's that going to affect my pond? How's it going to affect my fish and my algae? Okay, or maybe I chose a different one. Maybe I chose a food chain with a coyote and a mountain lion. Well, how is that going to, or a bobcat, how is that going to affect them if they start building houses there where they once lived? What's going to happen to them? So I have to talk about how that could negatively, what would be bad for the animals living in that area and the plants. Okay, and then I have to try to tell them, what could we do to help them out? How could I fix that problem? So if we're going to build houses and they're not going to have a place to live, what's my solution? What can I do for them? Okay, you have 2 days to get this done because it's a lot of work and some thinking. Okay, so do your very best job. Can't wait to see your great results.